Top 10 mistakes, over and over and over again. Number one, you guys do a lousy job recognizing problem patients. A lousy job. And you know they're problem patients because before they get into your chair, 5 people in your office already told you. Okay? The front desk told you when they set the appointment. Your receptionist told you when they walked back to the chair. Your hygienist told you because you did a hygiene, because you just looked at a hygiene check. And then probably somewhere along the line, somebody else has told you, you got a bad patient. But yet you treat them. Get rid of problem patients. They don't get better. Okay? When I handle malpractice claims, the old saying was a happy closed claim is a happy claim. They don't get better. If you've got a problem patient, get rid of that patient quickly. If they're in a chair and it's the first time you see them, and you're going to know within 3 minutes whether you got a problem patient, do whatever you can to not treat that patient. You don't have to treat. If you have a bad patient in a chair, remember, everything is beyond your capability, practice-wise. You don't do that kind of drilling and filling. You don't do cavities. You do implants. Okay? You don't do chipped teeth. You don't do restorative work, just cosmetic. All right, so you get rid of them. Because I'll guarantee you that's the problem, because you're gonna say, you know, $4,000, $5,000, that's a lot of bills. You will live with that patient for the next 3 years, I'm telling you. Collections. I would never send a patient to collections, never. Are you owed the money? Absolutely. Should they pay? Absolutely. But I'm telling you what, 90% of my board complaints that I deal with have to deal with collection problems. They all start somehow from collections. Either insurance is billed improperly, next you know, they send it to a collection agency, those nimrods put everything on the credit report, and you got all kind of credit issues, okay? Once you go to collections, this kills me, I got a client that owns 4 practices, over $4 million of revenue, and he will send a patient to collections for $150. I love that guy. He's an annuity. He's an annuity. He pays my rent and vacations. Okay? But look, seriously, it all stems from collections. It really does. So what do you say, well, what's the collection? You know, am I going to let $1,000, $2,000 go? If you got a problem patient and you've done everything in your chart, 100%, everything, which will never happen, then you send them collections. Otherwise, because once that door opens, you can't close it. Fail to advise your staff. You guys do a lousy job telling your staff what to do. Your staff does not know your expectations. Poor communication, poor chair side, poor front desk. You guys go into a room, you go into your office, and you're done. The rest of it, you let your office manager take care of. If you don't know if your staff doesn't know what to expect, you are destined to fail. They got to be consistent and accurate. Complete documentation. If you're leaving it up to your staff to document your charts and you're not supervising your staff as to what's expected, you are a malpractice board complaint waiting to happen. Because there's nothing, we'll touch on this a little bit earlier or later, there's nothing worse than me being next to my client in a board hearing and he doesn't know what his staff wrote in notes. And that happens. Document your charts. There's an old saying, document, 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 but not too much. And only lawyers can say that. Good chairside manner. The guys coming out now in school have a lousy chairside manner. And that's a broad statement, okay? That's a broad statement. But the best doctor that I know had a $2 million practice by herself, churning and burning. 30 years, never had a board complaint. Never had a board complaint. And I said, how did that happen? In today's world, when patients are nuts, staff is nuts, okay? And you got patients coming in that have all kind of problems. The last thing we do is be in your office, unless you're your wife or husband. How do you do? She said, first thing I did for 10 minutes, and it's all in the charts. How's the family? How's the kids? Is Mary going to college this year? Great news. I saw XYZ happened. And all this is on the charts because people are doing research before they even look at the chair. Okay? She already knew in 10 minutes that they calmed down and now they're ready to go. But if you're just going in there and just bam, and that burr's rolling within the first 3 seconds, you got a problem. You got to calm that patient down. That's how you avoid board complaints. Chairside manner. In dental offices, there is no overseeing, okay? You guys do a lousy job of appointing a point person to handle problems. Who in your office is handling OSHA? They don't have time. Who's handling HIPAA? Who's handling employee manuals? Who's handling your board complaints? Your office manager? No. I can't tell you how many calls I get. And it's taken an office manager 9 months to do an employee manual. They don't have time, and that's a huge risk. They said, well, how long does it take you? I said, I have one in 72 hours. You've got to appoint somebody to do this. Okay? Now, ultimately, when it comes to HIPAA and OSHA, you're responsible. You got to oversee it. But you got to appoint somebody who's handling patient complaints. Overseeing. Negative comments and charts. I don't know where to start with this, but I've seen more things in charts that violates federal law, race, color, creed, sex, and origin, and it's unbelievable. I've seen everyone criticized from mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers for everything. Now, what are you going to do, and this is starting to happen more and more, you get a disgruntled patient, they move charts. Half the time you're like, thank God, it didn't happen quick enough. So they get your chart, and now they go to Dr. Becker. And you didn't know it, but your staff has got negative comments in the chart. And all of a sudden, they appear on Facebook. What are you going to do? What are you going to do when you got comments in there to violate race, color, creed, sex, origin? You said everything negative you could possibly say. You can't do a thing about it. And we're seeing more and more of that. Okay? What are you going to do when you're in a board complaint and they're reading your charts, and all of a sudden you got negative comments in there? You can't put negative things in there. Your staff can't put negative things in there. You got to review your staff notes and charts. There's ways to say things without saying them, but you can't put them in the charts. Failure to follow up. As a whole, you guys do a lousy job following up with patients because you're too busy. It takes 3 minutes of a phone call to follow up with your patients. 3 minutes. You solve enormous problems. Then you got to document that you called them or your staff called them because they will swear to God that you have never called them. I didn't hear from the doctor. And yet you got chart notes that you tried to call them 17 times and they never called you back. I'm on a strict time frame because Dr. Becker's going to give me the hook soon. So I'll take all the questions we need to after hours, okay, after this lecture. But you've got to do that. You've got to do that. Patience, follow up. Failure to discharge. I've got doctors who practicing 20 years that say, I can't discharge a patient. Garbage. You can discharge a patient at any time. You got to know when to do it. Now, I wouldn't do it before you solve a problem. After you solve the problem, cut them loose. Cut them loose. So how do you do it? I have doctors that will tell me, well, I just called them and said, we no longer can treat you. No. I sent them an email. No. I sent them a message on Facebook. That's the worst thing you could do. I get this stuff. I mean, I can't even make it up. So you've got to send a letter, regular and certified mail. That's how you discharge. Because we have patients that will not accept a certified letter, but if I indicate that I've sent it regular U.S. mail and certified mail, I know they got one of the two. because only one came back unclaimed. Okay? Never email it. Again, solve the problem, then release them. You should have a process in your office for discharging. If you don't, you need one. You've got to give them 30 days emergency service. 30 days. In your letter, you've got to state you've got 30 days. Okay, 30 days.
That's in Georgia.
I believe it's ADA guidelines. I believe it's 30 days. Most states are 30 days. And I think the ADA guidelines, I think, are 30 also. So you got to formalize it. Now, you got to be real careful why you say you discharge. Different philosophy as to treatment seems to be the best one versus you're an idiot. Okay? And I've had to clean this stuff up. I mean, you're rude and abusive to my staff. Okay, now, let me tell you one thing. What are you going to do? Client calls me. Staff member calls me. Hygienist was groped while she's in the chair, while patient's in the chair. Groped. Doctor, best friend, small town, with the groper. Goes to church with the groper. Rotary Club with the groper. Doesn't want to discharge the groper. What do? You better discharge that patient. Because if you keep that patient, or you keep that patient, okay, and they assault your staff again, you have just opened the door for enormous problems. You got a problem like that, and I had the doctor call me and say, should I do this? You got to ask. Tomorrow, gone, okay? Gone. Failure to refer. Everybody's an expert now. Everyone's an expert in different things, okay? I got clients that go to an implant course from a Friday to a Sunday. They are now experts. If it's not within your wheelhouse, refer it out. Okay? Refer it out. If a piece of instrument breaks off and you can't get it, refer it out to an endo. Okay? Know what's in your scope. As soon as you step out of that scope and you're not trained properly, you've just opened the door to problems. Never cross out, erase, delete notes. Okay? Never do that. There are ways to correct it. There are ways to modify it. So let me tell you what happens. We get a client who's got a board complaint. I get a call at 9 o'clock at night, frantic. I'm like, don't worry about it, it's fine. We'll get it worked out. Okay? I said, send me your charts. Send me everything you have. I want to know. By 8 o'clock tomorrow, I want your entire chart. Go to the office, send it to me, email, fax, whatever you want to do. So what does the doctor do? I said, don't do anything. Don't touch your chart, don't do anything. What does the doctor do? They modify it. Dentrix, modified it on the columns. Modified. 200 modifications. Okay? By 9 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock in the morning, 200 modifications. That is a disaster. So all of a sudden, probably my client should have, at the end, she probably botched up some things. She probably should have refunded about $8,000, $9,000. Should have done that. So what happens is it escalates, and all of a sudden that $8,000 claim becomes a $200,000 malpractice settlement because they're alleging my client committed fraud. So when you modify, there's ways to do it. Cross out, initial, dictate a separate chart note, but don't modify, change, correct, white out. That's all bad.